Hello and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to start a new series called Balancing the Crucible. Now, I think it will be a good series just so I can share some insight coming from a Crucible player on how they can balance the Crucible, and I'm not just going to say nerf Thorn, buff auto rifles, done. I'm going to go into a lot of detail regarding timed kills and all sorts of little stats shared across several auto rifles and how auto and other weapons in general, and how all the different types of that particular weapon interact. I'll be going over secondary ammo, heavy ammo, how often they come, how much they supply across the three different types of secondary weapons and the two different types of heavy weapons, and so on and so forth. I'll also cover different classes, different supers, all in their own video. So for this one I'll be covering auto rifles. Auto rifles right now are the most underused weapon class in PvP and PvE at this moment. What the main problem was is auto rifles were the most used weapon, and then all of a sudden one patch made them the least used weapon, and that was because of a single line in the patch notes, which they carried out: reduce base damage of auto rifles by 2.5%. Now that doesn't seem like much, but it put it below all the weapon types completely.
Lost the lead.
They can't compete with anything. Right now, the slowest killing auto rifle in the game is an Abyss Defiant, a raid weapon, at 2.2 seconds through a body shot, and a still really slow 1.6 seconds at a headshot. That's a long time to be shooting someone. You know, in that time somebody can easily scarp around a corner, can easily shoot back and kill you twice over if they're using a hand cannon. That's really not good. That is really not good. And yeah, that's the slowest, but what's the fastest? An Eidolon Ally, or a Necrochasm as used in this gameplay. They are the fastest killing auto rifles in the game, and from this gameplay they still take a very long time and often get outgunned. Now this happens to be a friendly match played by me and a bunch of friends, so we all decided to use auto rifles. And that's where I got this footage from. However, moving on from that digression. Yeah, they're the fastest killing auto rifles in the game, and they're only because they have aggressive ballistics. They're not easy to obtain, and people don't really want to obtain them because it's just tedious. And they're not that amazing. They bounce around a lot, you miss a lot of shots, small magazine, you're constantly reloading, and all of that malarkey. And well, one of them's exotic, and it's really not worth wasting the exotic on. So what other auto rifles do we have? Well, we have three types. We have Balanced, Stable, and Rapid. Rapid being the Dr. Nope Atheon's Epilogue build, max fire rate, minimal impact. Then we have Stable, which is just a little bit lower fire rate and just a little bit higher impact. These tend to have maxed out stability with stability perks, and even without stability perks, they are towards 75–80% of stability. And then we have Balanced. These are ones that have got lower fire rate, higher impact, medium range, medium stability, medium mag size, that kind of thing. Stuff like Vanquisher 8, or the Grim Citizen, or the Shadow Price. Now, auto rifles in the sense between these different types are actually very well balanced. We have the rapid fire rate ones, have the fastest time to kill, but they have the worst range and stability. We then have the medium, the stable. These have got a medium time to kill, only being a little bit slower than rapid, but still slower nonetheless, but they have the advantage of range and stability. And then there's Balanced. These have got the longest time to kill: Shura's Regime, Abyss Defiant, Shadow Price. And again, it isn't much longer. The rapid time to kills are only 0.9 and 0.1 seconds, depending on the armor value of their opponent. The Stable are actually only a second, only 0.07 seconds. However, it does make a difference, and you do try and get everything, but you are sacrificing range by going after that extra time to kill. And then at 1.06 seconds, we have the Stable, so there isn't much between them, but they all handle very differently. And under a straight-up gunfight, the ones that are easier to handle, the Shadow Price, Grim Citizen, Vanquisher, they will lose out. But you do have the advantage of, as I say, range, and easier to control. This is very good as an inter-class balance. They are all there isn't one that's better than the other. Yes, I'm using a Necrochasm here, just because of its fastest time to kill, but a Summarises regime, even though it's slow to kill someone, especially with focus fire, heading towards, what's it say here, 1.4 seconds, you can shoot out to ridiculous ranges, and that's not too bad. You'll always outgun a Necrochasm over 15-20 meters. So, in the actual class, between the different archetypes of auto rifle, it's very balanced, which isn't actually the case in a lot of other types of weapons, such as hand cannons. Now I'll get onto that into another episode. But how I would buff auto rifles to make them more used in both PvP and PvE to make them more viable, competing with pulse rifles and hand cannons, which are clearly the most powerful at the moment, is just by simply removing the nerf that they gave, that 2.5% nerf. They didn't need to do that. What they did was they brought down auto rifles and at the same time pushed up pulse rifles, and that just completely flipped their situation. I'll get onto pulse rifles and what they should do in another episode, as I said, but auto rifles just need to have that nerf taken away from them. Make sure it's viable again. It won't be a monster, because it will have to compete with the Red Death, which will always beat a Summarises regime if both users are capable of hitting headshots. This reversal of the nerf will make them slightly more used, it'll make them viable. It won't allow them to compete with, say, a Thorn or a Last Word, but it will add more variety into PvP, just because there's a reason to use them, because they can kill things. I go into PvP with a Necrochasm. I managed to win a Rumble. It was messy, though. It was really messy.
Only 5 minutes left.
I wouldn't advise it. Going into Control, 12 kills, 13 assists. And as seen there on screen right now, he managed to poke his nose out for a very long time and then get into cover before the Necrochasm could kill him, and those were pretty solid headshots. So, increasing the damage by 2.5% and increasing the stability, I would say, just to make them a little bit more usable, especially on the rapid fire rate ones, would bring them all into a more reasonable level of PvP competitiveness. So that's how I'm going to end this video off here. I will be talking about probably another type of primer in a future episode. If you like the idea of this series, be sure to say so. If there's any changes you want me to make, be sure to say so as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.